Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining in. So, for another session of Recruiter Experience or Candidate Experience Interview Preparation Lab. So, in this session, we will focus on the interview aspects of it. How do you prepare for a recruiter experience or candidate experience interview? This is the first in the series for the entire recruiting module. So, let's then get started. I will be sharing my screen. And the pattern we will follow is we will not be discussing every questions, but some selected questions, some scenario-based questions. Okay, there are a lot of topics if you find, so you will be finding them in the recruiter experience. If you're a part of my community, you will be part of this topics, and these things you'll be finding the track number 10. Okay, so the track number 10 is all about the interview preparation, right? How do you solid the individually, how you can prepare for recruiting related in SAP SuccessFactor focused recruiting related interview, job interview questions and all. It will also, whenever you're attending these questions and all, I have given it in assignment format. So not only you can practice them, but also you can do some hands-on related to that topic, and it will help you in exploring each and every topic seriously, and so that you can clear any interviews in any format, right? Especially focused on SAP success factor recruiting, okay, very smoothly. Okay, so what I have done is almost 19 sessions we will be having, and each sessions will be focusing on some of the key questions. Okay, and for few of them I will be answering. It is not practically possible to answer everything here in the same in this particular session, but we will try to cover max as much as possible, right? And the idea is not to remember those answers and all, but to understand the flow. Okay, understand the theme of the project, because today you are working in a the success factor recruiting, tomorrow you will be working in some other products, right? There are certain concepts remain the same. The way you do it in a may vary from a product to product. Okay, so try to understand the flow and understand the theme of the topics. Okay, what are the questions we're having? What are the scenarios? Maybe you are using currently maybe a different system and all, but you might be doing it in a different way, right? So with that note, let's then get started with scenario-based questions first. Generally, the big four companies they focus okay on this type of questions from my experience. And also some other companies also, if the interviewer is a good one, okay, so then generally they would prefer to ask scenario-based question than a theoretical knowledge-based questions and all. Okay, so let's then get started with recruiting module, and we will be having this is an assignment. Okay, people who want to experience this and get these details, you can always go to the school.successlabsacademy.com. If you want to have a detailed guidance on how to practice these questions, you subscribe to any one of the membership, minimum gold or diamond membership, so that you'll be getting all these live sessions as well as recorded sessions complimentary. Okay, as we progress, this is complimentary for all of you. So this is available in the recruiter experience, whatever I'm discussing today. And this will be in the subsequent days. I keep updating this content based on the requirement, based on the new updates, what we have from SuccessFactor, new innovations and all. So if you go here, there are multiple tracks. We have recently completed those implementation track, end-to-end implementation. Okay, we have covered here operation track, all the admin activities we have covered there. Now coming to interview preparations, this is what we'll be talking about today. The first part is a core recruiting configuration. What are the core recruiting point of view? What are the details you can expect questions in a typical interview, right? Then we will be having subsequent topic, around 19 topics, 19, 20 topics are there. And once towards the end also, you'll be having a solution. Okay, so solutions are not published for everyone, for everything, so that you can, I want you prepare them well and submit those assignments, submit your queries if you have any questions, right? If you feel some questions are not relevant or something can be improved, you can always give a feedback. Okay, open for those feedback as well. Okay. So with that note, we will be starting the first questions for today. So the first question for today is, you are going to enable SuccessFactor recruiting for the first time. Okay. And what are the key prerequisites required? Okay, you have to enable in the provisioning before you configure the recruiting module. Okay, so that's the first question. So how do you answer? Just as usual, this is a common thing in every module in SuccessFactors you might have seen. There are certain prerequisites are there which you must enable in the provisioning, which is the backend of the SAP SuccessFactors systems. Only certified consultants will be having access to it, even if, as for the SAP protocol at this moment, as we speak, even if the your administrators, if they even if they are certified, they will not be able to access it. Okay, it is only limited to the partners or consultants who are certified, right? So how do you answer it? So this is again, I have given a clue for it. Okay, so I have given some directions. Okay, so the answers will be like this. Okay, it will be based on definitely the RBP we have to enable. You have to enable the attachment manager, because in recruiting a lot of documents will be there, like your CV, employee, your candidate CV will be there, or any kind of a documents from a related to background verification. So it can be anything, right? Which requires an attachment. So for that reason, we require an attachment manager. Other than that, we have to also have an MDF. People who are not uh, familiar with the term MDF, you can follow my platform foundations concept. Okay, those videos I have covered MDF objects there. Okay, MDF objects, generic objects. Okay, then questions object for any kind of a job requisition and application related questions. You definitely require competencies and all, right? So these are some of the key prerequisites you have to ensure these are there. Okay, so these are must be a prerequisite. Okay, before you enable, whenever you're doing for the first, these are all one-time activity. Okay, hope it is clear. Now moving on to the next question. Next question is the scenario is your customer wants to restrict the languages used in the recruiting process to a subset of language packs enabled in the system. How can you choose which language to use in the recruiting? This is a very common question if you are working for multiple countries. Okay, your client is having presence in multiple countries when it comes to the implementation. So there are certain features which you will be enabling in the, so that I will give you the answer. So the answer is in the admin center, there are something called manage recruiting languages. Okay. If you go to the manage recruiting languages, you will be finding an option. Okay. What are the languages available? So I have taken just a small snapshot. Okay. Not the entire thing. Okay. But let's say I want my implementation is also in Arab, okay, Saudi or Korea, Japanese, Russia, French, Spanish, okay, US, UK, English, German, right? So I can simply check those boxes. Okay, so it is under managed recruiting languages in the admin center. Okay, so this is the second scenario. Okay, so that is how do you restrict languages or how do you activate languages which are required for your customer, right? Now, the third question, I will leave it up to you. I will not be giving the answers. So you have to find yourself the answers, right? All the answer is there with me. So this is just a thinking process for you. Let's say whenever you are creating any recruiting groups, okay, what are the things you have to do, okay, if a real user who created a group is later deactivated, okay? So there's a real user, okay, who has created a particular recruiting group. Later on that person has left the organization or due to some xyz reason, okay, the person, the real user who created that group is deactivated. Okay, so what should you do? Okay, so there can be a possibility, right? Okay, one of the person can leave the organization, or the person who has created that group has the person has left the person, the ID itself got deactivated. Okay, so what will happen? Okay, what should you do if any issues are existing, or what kind of issues you can face? You can try it and let me know. Okay, whenever so I will not be answering these questions, although the answer is there in the platform. I will not be showing that as well. Okay, I will go to the next question. Question 4. Okay, so your customer wants to control which fields you can use as a search criteria whenever searching for the requisition. Okay, So let's say your recruiter, okay, uh, there will be an applicants, okay. So whenever they're searching for any jobs, okay, in your recruiting platform, right, and they would like to search in a different way, search in a particular way, right? So how would you, as a administrator, how would you control that? Which are the fields applicant can search? What are the things control they can do, right? So this is also a typical question, an administrative question, but you should be aware of it. How do you do it, isn't it? So there is something called configure the internal and external career search settings in the success factor in the managed recruiting settings. And if you are not aware of it, I will not be going into detail about it, but you can see those things. Okay. So these are the things managed recruiting settings is there. And inside it, if you go for, there is something called internal and external career search setting. If you search for search, okay, let me search it for search. Okay. Let's see. Interesting. Search for search. Okay. Display candidate ID and candidate profile application page and enable searching by within candidate search. This is one criteria. Candidate search settings. Okay, this is date specific. Okay, do not allow to select inactive division department's location in the career side job search when editing requisitions. Right, there are multiple things we can have here. Right. So now, so you can see there are multiple things here, and candidate search settings are there. Right. So in the, if you go to configure the internal external search career search settings, there you can specify which fields should be available for search criteria for both internal and external applicants. Okay, so what are the things you would like to, whenever you're searching for any requisitions, job requisitions, you can find that which are the fields you would like to configure, which are the fields you would like to not to configure, right? So that is something you can do. So you can find out the answer for it and let me know, okay, if anything is required, okay. So regarding these questions, I will say that there are different settings. If you want to how the searching criteria can be filtered, but this I want you to improve this answer. Okay, you maybe you have to take a snapshot for it and let me know. Okay, so for every questions, by the way, we have a assignment section. Okay, this is an assignment itself for all of you. Okay, so towards the end, we have a box here where you can answer all these 50 questions which I am having. Okay, maybe you can take an help of notepad or something like that. Okay, or you can directly start typing all the 50 questions, maybe whatever you can do, like to answer and all, right? Or you can make a document and you can open that link and you can share the link directly if you are not comfortable in writing here, right? So all the options you can try. Okay, and I want you to improvise this answer. Okay, although I have given a hint here. Okay, this one you can consider as a hint. Okay, not the exact accurate answer. Some of them case, I have given answer. In some cases I have given a hint. Okay, so we take this hint and let me know what will be the answer. Okay, how would you make which fields should be available for such criteria? Suppose I'm an internal candidate, okay, inside the company. Okay, what are the field criteria you have to apply? Okay, if I'm an external applicants, okay, how do you apply? What are the such criterias I can? Okay, so how would you control that? Okay, so that is something you have to answer. Okay, now moving on to the, hope it is clear. Moving on to the next question. What is the leading practice for setting the return email address for system generated emails to the candidates? Okay. Return email address, if you are, you must have seen many of the case, do not reply, no reply, right? Those kind of settings. Okay. So that people will not be reply to those system generated emails with a disclaimer that this is a system generated email, we do not apply, you do not have to reply to it, right? So those kind of settings are there already in our success factor. So as a best practice, you have to always set. So I have given a dummy name here. You can give your actual name, best your company name, okay, or something like that. So here, if you can see here, I have mentioned here, do not reply. Okay, do not reply. at that company.com. Okay, so that is something you can always see here. This is the way. Okay, so this will be available, okay, in your same recruiting settings as well, manage recruiting settings. And if you go to the return email address information, okay, and that is where you can put it here. Do not reply or any no reply. It's up to you, whatever you like to do it. Okay, so this is the way you can put it here. Okay, now moving on to the next question. Hope it is clear. Okay, moving on to the next question. This is an interesting one. Your customer wants to highlight the most recent row on candidate profile background elements. Okay, people who do not know background elements, uh, I will recommend to go refresh your platform foundation concepts. In Employee Central also have covered this topic, same concept. Okay, so background elements, if you see here, so when it comes to background elements, if you want to have the recent background elements in your candidate profile, how do you enable it, right? So for that matter, you have to again navigate to the managed recruiting settings, the settings which I have covered here, right? And in that settings, you have to basically, there is something a setting called set background elements to highlight the current value based on the start date and end date. So this is something you have to very careful and you have to check this box. Okay, so that's it. So but you should be aware of it. What is the background element? I will not explain that. You refer to the platform foundation videos of mine, okay, or guide for that. And from that, you will be getting all those details. Okay. So this is the candidate profile background elements. How do you enable it and how do you make a setting so that you will be always get the candidate's latest background elements details, like say experience or certificates. Okay, whatever the latest one you'll be getting in the screen, right? It will be highlighting the background elements. Okay, so this is the sixth question in the series. Hope you're enjoying the questions and you're learning something new. The next question is how can you hide skip statuses in the application audit trail that displays to the users in SuccessFactors? This is a little deep question. Okay, you may or may not get this question in the interviews. Okay, but it's good to know how so skip status in the application audit trail. How do you enable it? How do you check it out? Okay, so there is a settings in the managed recruiting settings. So you have to hide skip statuses. Okay, there is a different statuses. Okay, maybe we can check it out here if anything is skipped out. Okay, so this is the one. Applicant profile settings, hide skip statuses in the application audit trail. Suppose there is an application, applicant has applied the things, and if you want to hide skip statuses in the application audit trail, okay, then you can utilize it. So maybe this is a tricky question, okay, but not difficult. So you can see always it is already in my system. This is already activated. So any kind of skip status is there in the entire audit trail, right? That will be hidden. Suppose if you do not want to hide that skip statuses, you can simply uncheck this. Okay. So this is the way you can do it. Now moving on to the next question. Next question, question number 8. Okay, so this question is all about your customers wants that they want allow recruiters to forward the candidates to requisition and have the application pre-populate with the candidate's previous applicant data. Okay, application data. Okay, so it may happen. It may come across a scenario. One candidate has been applying for multiple jobs, or okay, it is very possible. Let's say you are a certified consultant in multiple modules in SAP SuccessFactors, and there is opening for multiple modules, right? So your CV remains the same and all, but if you want to, as a recruiter, you want to forward a candidate to a requisition, and the application should always pre-populate based on the previous candidate data. Okay, so suppose the candidate is not a new candidate, he is a returning candidate, he's applying for another job in the same company, right? So in that case, what you need to do? Okay, so there is again a settings here. The answer is here. Yeah, enable the setting called enable forwarding with job application data intact. Okay, so if you want to see this in the system, okay, I have not taken a screenshot. Okay, suppose if I want to see this particular settings here, if I want to check this out, okay, I can always go here to the job application data intact. Okay, so let me go to the manage recruiting settings. There is something called intact. Let me check intact. Okay, if I go here, I can see that enable forwarding with application data intact. Okay, there is a settings here. Okay, so if you use the settings, okay, then definitely it will be applicable whatever the scenario that they're asking for it. Okay, so it is possible. Okay, so now hope it is clear. Now moving on to the next question: how can you automatically calculate time to hire on applicant profiles based on configurable start and end dates? Okay, this is one of the key parameters or KPIs, you can say, time to hire. Okay, suppose if you are taking more time to hire, then it's not a very good sign as a good recruiter, right? So you must be having a KPIs in your organization. The time to hire should be less, but again, depending upon the profiles, okay, what kind of CVs, what kind of roles you're looking for. If it's a niche skill, very difficult to find out someone very short period of time. Definitely, the time to hire will be a higher side, right? So that things to have this answer. So there is again calculations. In the recruiting settings, configure the time to hire settings, specify the start and end dates for the calculation. Okay. So if you want to see where exactly it is here, okay. So this is the same settings we are talking about, time to hire. The changes made in the admin settings may take up an hour to take effect. Suppose if you want to put a, there are some criteria by the way, okay, how the time to hire will be calculated. Okay, different organizations have their different criteria. SAP SuccessFactors is open for that. Okay, so if you see here, so in this time to hire, whether it is from approved date or calculated, or the calculation is done from a job posting date, or the calculation is starting from the approval of the job requisition, from where exactly the hiring date will be starting and when the exact the ending date. Okay, so based on your company policy, based on your organization settings, you can discuss. This is a debatable topic. You can time to hire may be different for different organizations. Okay, but ideally it is generally, I have from my experience, if it is approved, okay, job requisition has been approved, from that ideally it should be calculated. Okay, or definite some organization, okay, say okay it is approved but it's not yet posted, right? So they can think of like, okay, I will start my time to hire from job posting date. Okay, so in that case I will choose this one. Okay, posting the start date and posting date, the let's say the end date will be, the time to hire will be, let's say, hired on so date. Okay, the candidate has been hired on a particular date. Okay, this is just an example. Okay, don't go about by this number, by this value. Okay, so whenever your time, when I say talking about time to hire, you have to choose the respective fields here. Okay, based on your client requirements you can choose and pick it up, right? And also many times whenever you're selecting a time to hire, if the candidate is on hold, then you're not responsible. That should not considered in your KPI, right? Or if you are the candidate is deleted due to some XYZ reason, then if you want to exclude, definitely that will definitely improve your KPIs and all. Hold is, we are not responsible due to some XYZ reason. The candidate goes on hold, right? So in that case, you can choose this as an option. Okay. So whenever you are saying the time to hire, okay, these are the few settings Very few consultants that do it. I have not seen many consultants, many clients that are using it, but it is very helpful. Okay, whenever it comes to reporting or any dashboard you are using, let's say people analytics, recruiting analytics, and all, right? This will be helpful for you. So you can consider it. Okay, whenever you are selecting the time to hire, ensure those fields are populated and you are choosing the right value. Okay, this is the so the system will calculate the time to hire based on the configurable start date. So why it is saying configurable? Because you are choosing, this is just a configuration. What is my start date and what is my end date? I am configuring it here by some settings here. Okay. So for that reason, it is known as a configurable start date and end date, and the entire process is known very smooth. Okay. So this is the settings which we have to have. Now the question number 10 again. I will not be answering. This is for you. Although answer is there in the platform. You in this video, I want you to think upon. If you're watching this video from YouTube, just to try to answer it, and more than happy, okay, to see your answer comments in the comment box. Okay. So the answer question is your customer wants to non-hire applicants to automatically move to a requisition close status when the requisition closes. How can you set it up? Okay. So non-hire applicants, that means you are not hiring them. Okay. Those applicants. Okay. So you want to move them into a different status, requisition close status. How do you set it up? This is again a small setting is there. Answer is already there in my platform. Okay. I will not be showing you. So you just have to go through it and verify your answers. But it is not like I am saying that means 100% correct. So you have to verify these answers, verify and understand the question is very important, whether you understand the questions or not. Okay. Then you verify your implementation guide, verify your system. Okay. Then let me know what will be the answer. Next question. What setting control merging external internal candidate profiles when a candidate is hired? Okay. So control merging external and internal candidate profiles. Okay. This is an interesting question. Okay. External and internal candidate profile means what? So, so we have a setting called conversion. Configure the external to internal candidate profile conversion settings. Okay. And this will help you merging the internal and external candidate profile. Okay. When a candidate is hired. So let's say due to some XYZ reason, the person has applied a job internally. At the same time, the person has applied the job externally, okay, through the external career sites. But you identified that the person is same. Okay, he is already an external internal candidate or regular employee. So how do you convert that? How do you basically merge? You understood that the person is same, right? The candidate is same, the applicant is same, right? So in that case, we are having a settings. Okay, we call it a converse profile conversion settings. So you can find it. I can show you that conversion settings. I have seen somewhere here. Yeah. So this is the one. External to internal candidate profile conversion settings. Internal to external candidate profile conversion settings. Right. So you can see there is the settings. So specify the setting that should be considered for the job run to be carried out in the provisioning. It is saying if a hired external candidate profile, employee ID, matches the employee profile, employee ID, then merge this profile into this, into one, right? And consider candidates marked as a hired, okay, last 2 or 3 weeks, whatever the weeks may be, right? So this is a small settings. We call it a conversion settings. Same thing is also applicable for a internal to external candidate profile conversion settings. So you have to explain. So you have to explain what are the external to internal candidate profile conversion settings and internal to external candidate profile settings. Why these conversions are required? I would recommend go to the implementation guide thoroughly and let me know what will be your answer. And this is the configuration point of view. I have answered it. But what is the business case? Why it is required? What is the significance of it? That also you have to think about it, right? So you have to give that answer in the assignment. Okay. Next question. How can you hide the social security number, date of birth fields on job application from appearing in an ad hoc report? Ad hoc reports. Okay, how do you hide those? This is very specific for US. Okay, because social security number is relevant only in US. So we have a similar numbers in other countries as well. Okay, so there is a settings here. Enable the settings called hide standard job application, social security number from ad hoc reports, and hide standard application date of birth in the admin center under the manage. So same configuration which you are discussing now. Okay. So there is something called, let's see whether it is activated or not in my system. Yes. So there's a field validation also. I do have another field level validation standard security number field application. If you want to validate that, you can do that. Another thing is, yeah, this is the what I was talking about. This is very specific to US. Mask social security number and date of birth in ad hoc reports. Any kind of ad hoc report if you are building, and if you want to hide the SSN number, hide any kind of date of birth and any kind of ad hoc reports, right? This is the settings you have to perform. Okay, so this is the answer. So moving on to the next question, the scenario. So your customer wants recruiter to optionally provide comments when changing the applicant status. How do you enable this? Okay, recruiters to optionally provide comments when changing an applicant status. Okay, so I suppose I'm a recruiter. Okay, and I'm changing the applicant status. Let's say I will be hiring someone. Let's say I will keep someone, some candidate. I will rank the candidate, or let's say I will be put some comment on the candidate. Okay. So how do you choose this in the system, right? How do you enable this in the system? Okay. So this is a setting called enable the setting, allow users to optionally provide comments on applicant status change. Okay. So any kind of comment if you are giving, maybe I want you to take a snapshot. Okay, whenever you are going to the system, check your system and give a snapshot to it. Okay, I'll be more than happy to see those snapshots. I've not given those snapshots so that you can practice in the system and let me know. Okay, and what is the impact basically, where exactly it is impacting? Test it and let me know. Okay, so there is something called allow users to optionally provide comments. Okay, so let's say, so this is the setting I was talking about. Allow users to optionally provide comments on the applicant status change. Okay, this is a free text box on status change confirmation screen via the applier. When a recruiting user moves applicants to a different status, recommend to enable. Okay, this highly recommend. I always enable it. Okay, so this is something you have to choose. Okay, so this is setting. Okay, so these are very. I have asked this question very in a detailed way. You may or may not get this detailed level of questions, but it's good to know. This is also practically. Suppose I have to. I have taken. I have gone through an interview process. I think it was 6 years back. It was a German-based company, right? So they have asked me similar kind of a questions. So they given me a system, by the way, okay, and they have asked me to showcase which is the things you have to enable. That rarely happens in typical other interviews. Generally, we're not given system access in the interview process, but this is the worst case. Okay, so it's better to know, good to know all these things. Okay, now moving on to the next question. How can you allow posting a job requisition privately so it has a URL to share with select candidates, but doesn't appear in the career site results? Okay, hope you understood the question. There can be a job posting, but the URL will be generated privately. How would you enable it? So there is settings for that. Enable the setting called enable private posting of jobs. Okay, so this is the settings again. Now you have to ensure private posting if you are enabling. So again, same settings here. So you go to here, private posting. Yeah, I have not enabled it by the way in my system. But if you enable it, you will allow you private posting. Okay, so this is the settings you have to do. Okay. So now moving on to the next, I will be skipping few questions, okay, for the interest of time. And let's say I will directly go to those other questions you can go through. I have already there, those are in my platform, you can go through it. So let's say I will pick up one question from the interview process. Okay. So this is an interesting question. How can you, question number 23, how can you make the interview result and overdue interview fields appear on the candidate summary page? Okay, so let's say you would like to make the interview result and overdue interview fields appear on the candidate summary page for a recruiter, right? How do you enable them, right? So let's say see the answers for it. Enable, there is a setting called candidate summary display, interview result, and overdue interviews. Okay, in the recruiting setting. So again, in the same settings, this will be just summarize what are the settings we do have. Okay, we have something called interview result. Let me go there. This is the one candidate summary. So I have already activated in my platform. So it says that display interview result and overdue interviews in the candidate summary page. Okay. So as a task, I want you to display, you have to tell me the impact. If you are activating it, where it will be impacting. Okay. So that is up to you. You have to upload in the system. Okay. Upload in the platform. How it is impact. Suppose you are unchecking. Suppose you're testing. Let's say you're testing it. Okay. This feature. If you disable it, what will happen? If you enable it, what will happen? You have to give the difference. Okay. With the screenshots. Okay. So I want to do that. So this is a sale. Next question. Now let's say I will be going to the another question. DRM question, I'm leaving it up so you can go through it. Okay, this is an important question. How can you enable LinkedIn feature? Because for internal candidates, okay, how do you enable LinkedIn? Okay, and how do you see that those are activated, right? So whenever it comes to the LinkedIn feature, okay, we have an option called enable apply with LinkedIn. Let me search for it. Okay, by the way, it is not there. Let me check if it is not enabled. It should be in the manage recruiting settings. Okay, I'm already in the manage recruiting settings. Okay. Hmm. So by the way, LinkedIn is not configured in my system. Okay. So what you have to do, so there will be a setting here only. So if you are getting this, just let me know. Okay. So you have to enable LinkedIn settings in the internal career site. Okay. So also the LinkedIn integration should be enabled. Okay. That is something you have to do here. Okay. So I think this is the another question which you have discussed. So again, few questions I will skipping. It is not possible to discuss each and every questions here. Okay. So now let's say I will be. Hmm, this is an important question. How can you enable the ability to create complete job profile and job profile association with a job requisition? Okay. So there are multiple things here. Job profile builder. Okay. There is a concept. Okay, how do you create that? How do you enable that with a, and how do you associate with that a job requisition? Okay, so for that you have to ensure the job profile already you are using it. Okay, and for that you have to create a, whenever you are creating job requisition, ensure you are creating the job profile. Okay, for those requisition. Okay, if I go for it, Yeah. So we have a feature here called use job profile and requisitions. Okay. So what you can do, so by using this, whenever you are going to job requisition page, you will be able to see a job profile. Okay. And that for that you have to use JPB, job profile builder and all, right? So that is something you have to ensure. Okay. So that is something we have to ensure doing it. Next is also an important question. Recruiters to enable Microsoft Teams meeting with information of scheduling interview because Microsoft is most many organizations, many corporates they use it. Okay, Microsoft Teams basically. So whenever you are scheduling the interviews, how do you enable it? Okay, so for this also we have a settings. So Microsoft Teams integrations at present, I don't know whether it is having I'm having or not. Okay, so Microsoft Teams, yeah, this is already there. Okay, so this is the recent. At present, I have not integrated in my system. This is a dummy system, but these are the features you have to ensure. Okay, if you are already using the live system, right? So I'm just annotating here that. So these are the three things you have to enable. Okay, enabling your typical Microsoft Teams integration. This one you have to enable it. Then, if you want to use interviews in Microsoft Teams SuccessFactor app, okay, so you ensure these two settings are enabled here. Okay, it will allow you to prepare for an upcoming interviews in the evaluate applicants inside the Microsoft Teams itself. Okay, you don't have to switch the app. Okay, so that is something you have to enable. Enable interview alerts. You'll be getting also an alert in the Microsoft Teams. Also, you can do the assessment in the Microsoft Teams itself. Okay, this is an interesting one. Okay, so I will highly recommend to do it. All these the three settings. Okay, whenever you are doing an integrations, Microsoft integrations with interview scheduling. It is one of the biggest debatable topic in my one of the previous projects. Okay, they took almost 5 to 6 months. At that point of time, this was not matured yet. But whenever you are integrating, you'll be able to verify. It will be asking for you the O365, Microsoft Office 365 IDs and all, provide those admin IDs and all everything. So with that, you will be able to save this feature, save these functionalities and all, enable this functionality. Then you will be able to perform whatever is required, okay, in your project. Okay. So that is the another question which I thought of, a very important question, recent one. Okay, same questions is also there for the next one also. Question number 35 also very similar line. Okay. How can you basically enable the Microsoft Teams that for scheduling interviews? Okay, same questions here 35. 35 is same we already discussed. Okay. So integration is set up and everything is done. This takes some time. Okay, you may have to contact a Microsoft export as well sometimes if it is required. Okay, otherwise any IT persons in your company, if they are skilled, they can help you. Okay. Coming to the next question, how can you allow recruiters to enhance job description? These are all generative AI questions, right? If you have enabled generative AI in your system, then definitely these are recent updates from the last couple of months. Okay, and definitely in the last release. So one of the key use cases in generative AI for recruiting is you will be able to get interview questions, get job descriptions, right? So how do you enable it? So again, so we have our features. So I will recommend to go through it. I will not be going through each and everything. So there is a feature called enable generative AI for AI JD, enable AI generated interview questions. Okay, in the admin center. These are a couple of things you have to look into. Okay. So this is something I will recommend have go through it. Now a couple of questions towards the end. These are more of a candidate experience questions. Okay, so I will recommend from a candidate experience questions point of view, there are like career site builder. I've asked some question related to career site builder. What are the usability guidelines? So there's a branding, career site branding, right? So this interview question which I have prepared for 50 questions, these are mostly like a mixed up of your recruiter experience and candidate experience. First 40 questions are around recruiter experience. Last 10 questions are around candidate experience. So to answer the candidate experience, you have to ensure you are I have gone through my candidate experience module. Okay, in that I've covered everything. And to answer them, mostly these are like, so I will take few questions from there. Okay. So let's say how you have already prepared a career site. You like to optimize. How do you optimize the career site content, its metadata? Okay. So that your search engine can perform better. Right. So for that, the rule of thumb is there are five answers, five uh, steps I have given. Use always the relevant keywords because keywords are very important whenever you are designing a job description, job titles. Okay. Ensure you are using proper tagging, meta tags you are properly using. Okay. Part of the description you are mentioning. Okay. Also ensure your part of the sites. Today many people also access the site, career site through the mobile. Okay. It should not happen that it is loading, taking more time to apply in the mobile applications. Right. So to ensure the site is mobile friendly and loads quickly. Okay, that is something you have to do. Similarly, always keep your data structure. Okay, so that the search engine can understand the content, regularly update. It should not happen that a job description is job is already filled, but still that is there. People are still applying. It should not happen. There should be a fixed timeline for each and every jobs you're posting into the platform. Okay, you have to ensure the timing. Okay, and there are certain guidelines, accessibility point of view from a color branding because it's all about the branding. Your career site is all about the branding, and as an employer, you are attracting candidates, right candidates in the right time to the right platform, right? So to ensure you are following all the principles of marketing, okay, you are wearing a marketing hat here, okay, marketing sales hat, so you're attracting. So to attract the candidates, you have to your you cannot have a suboptimal website or career site. You have to be very much efficient, okay, responsive career sites. Okay, all the links should be identifiable. All the images should be. You have to ensure it is representing your brand image of the organization, right? So these are something you have to take care. So this is all about the career branding, your recruiting, marketing, and all. Okay. Also, how do you enable recruiting posting integrations? If there is a how whatever the jobs you are posting, it is going to multiple job boards. Okay, in the career sites. Okay. So there are few settings again. So I've already covered those in details in my videos and all. You can always watch them. This is just a quick recap. Mm. Authentication. How do this is a technical question? So enable the single sign-on. Then how do you handle bulk candidates and everything, right? So I will highly recommend go through each and every questions. So I've tried my best to cover these videos, most of the important questions. So these are your typical scenario based questions. So another good news is we have also a knowledge based question. Some organizations, I will not name those organizations, but those organizations still in the traditional way they ask knowledge based question, conceptual questions, right? Which is more like a rote learning. Okay, and so they will be asking your difference, they will be asking the what kind of question, which kind of question, right? So for to cater those requirements, I have also given a 20 questions. For this I have not given the answers. Okay, I want answers from you. You'll be getting these answers from definitely the implementation guide, or if you go to system. Okay, so you will be getting these answers. In case if you are not finding answer, let me know. I'll be more than happy. And also whenever you're adding comment, right, so it will not be available for everyone, this will be available to the me. Okay, so you can say that add a new comment, start a private conversation with an instructor. Suppose a question you are having any doubts, you can put in the comments also. Okay, some you can submit the assignments by the way with all the 20 answers or the 50 answers in the part A. So the part A is having 50 questions, scenario based questions. Part B is having 20 knowledge based questions. Okay, so the part B is having basically your knowledge based questions. You can also answer them. Okay, and let me know if you're finding some of the questions might be thing you might be finding little repeated also. That is perfectly fine. I have asked it in a different way. Okay, so part B also is an assignment. You can submit the assignment. I can review those assignments. And also if you want to have any questions and doubts, okay, feel free to ask. Okay, then this will be with when I say instructor, I'm your instructor, and I'll be getting those comments and more than happy to answer those. Okay. So for reference, I have given attached. your implementation guide, you can always get them in the hello.sp.com, right? So just for a quick reference, you'll be getting here. And with that note, we will stop this here. And looking forward in the upcoming sessions. In the upcoming sessions, we'll be discussing another topic. Okay, we will go back to the curriculum. So we will go here, and so in the next session, we will be talking about the next topic is enabling success factor recruiting the provisioning. Okay, so there will be a few questions related to that. So we will continue our discussion from there. Okay. So all the best for your preparation for your assignments. Hoping to see your submissions in the assignments. Okay. So looking forward and take care. Bye bye.